I was looking at this book just before I came here, and I see how it. I don't know how to explain this, but I'm just so in awe, right, as to its simplicity. I mean, it's complex, but it's simplistic in its complexity, right? And you realize, going over the words, that this is not coming from the head. It's not an intellectual kind of thing. And that makes it so refreshing. And I thought of certain things that we could, that I could say. What could I say about this book? In terms of, making it interesting for somebody else. It's a textbook for awareness. It's like a roadmap for super consciousness. I was coming up with all these little phrases, and at the same time I was also looking at authors like Joseph Campbell, Gary Zukav, The Seat of the Soul, this fellow by the name of Johnson, a psychoanalyst from San Francisco, and how Mada's work supports what they have been saying. It's kind of like whatever anybody has done in the way of spirituality. Here comes Mada, and she's taking it to the next level. Right?
Yeah, totally. She's writing from experience. That's why the book can be both simple but complex, because if you've experienced it, it's not going to come from the head.
Right.
So I think that simplicity is because it's from experience.
Right.
But then what she is describing is very complex, and it is something that, it's sort of like visiting a country where they don't use language, and then having to try to describe what you experienced there, or what foods you ate, or how you lived.
Right.
When there was no words for those things. And so that was the sort of challenge of the book, is to be able, okay, how do you describe something that really is indescribable, but then do it simply?
Right, and that's where I think Mada's use of you came in.
Well, definitely, I felt like I was sort of that bridge between that experience that she's had, what she knows, and then how do you get that so someone can understand it simply, just
putting it in a logical kind of framework.
Having to structure it so it follows logically and linear, so that you can take little baby steps to get to an intellectual understanding of what she's describing.
That's the job, I guess, right?
That was the job.
Right. Because I know personally, Mada is not somebody who at the beginning of this project had any kind of experience in terms of being a wordsmith. She wasn't coming from, that kind of space. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
I can see how your assistance came in.
Well, we both, again, it was a very complimentary process. A lot of the things that she wanted to write about or talked about, I mean, frankly, they kind of freaked me out a little bit, because I hadn't had any experience in thinking or looking at that huge picture. Like, for example, in the chapter on the 7 bodies, where she's really describing things in a very epic, universal, huge perspective. It's overwhelming. And so for me, that was my big leap there. It's like, okay, first I have to face this and grasp this for myself, and then, okay, how do we describe this then?
Personally, what was the thing there for you? Was it your smallness in relation to the bigness, or accepting the vastness of?
I guess it was just overwhelming. It's kind of freaky a little bit, Like it's kind of freaky to be thinking about, the big universe, the vastness of that space. Yeah, definitely. It's that kind of feeling so small in comparison that you don't want to think about that, Don't want to look at that. So that was definitely a challenge for me on my part. And so I was able to sort of help Mada on her side, and then she brought me along for this, pretty wild ride.
I know you've been asked this before, but I'll ask you again. How have you grown being a part of this project?
Become a lot stronger of a person.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
A lot more centered, a lot more aware of, myself, my center, less overwhelmed, less concerned of what people are going to think, more certain of my own experience, my own truth.
So your witnessing has become stronger?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The ability to just watch things and be present, but not get caught up, not get overwhelmed in them. I've definitely gained that.
Does stuff still happen to you and you get caught in the old kind of movie, or is it less and less now? I mean, because you're visited again by challenges.
Oh yeah, challenges don't stop, right? I mean, life would be really boring if there wasn't the ups and downs and the challenges that were happening, you know? But, so yeah, things definitely come, but definitely feel less overwhelmed by them when they do happen. But yeah, I mean, sometimes still things will come and it's like, oh, I feel my hold on the center gets a little shaky, and then those are times to, again, reconnect, go meditate, be present again. But I'm able to watch that happen and not react, not act. Even if I have a moment where I can really feel the mind's really overwhelmed and I come out of the center a bit, it's like, it's very brief. It's like, okay, go back in. And I'm certainly not going to make any decisions or behave or act in a way that comes from that place.
A reaction instead of...
It's just not even an option. That's how it really feels. It feels like it's not even an option that I would listen to the mind or make a decision or act as a result of it, in reaction to the mind's reaction. But the mind's still there. It still reacts to things. It still doesn't like things, or it still would prefer something to not happen or this to happen, but it's really hardly a big deal at all.